Okay, time for a quick lesson. Deep breath, everybody. Here we go. It all started with nature. 100,000 years ago, if you wandered too far from the cave, the world was a pretty scary place. Storms, droughts, strange rashes. To ancient man, it felt like these forces were alive, like somebody's messing with us. It is a belief known as animism, the idea that behind each and every natural force there is an invisible spirit. Humans figure that if we can get on these spirits' good side, maybe they'll give us a break. So now we've got gods to worship. In other words, religion. And now that we've got religion, we've got an afterlife. And lots of ideas on how to get there. Pretty soon, the first ritual burials appear, as well as cremations, and then full-on cemeteries. Gods, of course, need places to be worshipped, so we start building temples. 12,000 years ago, there was one right here in Göbekli Tepe, Turkey, maybe the world's first. Fast forward to 3500 BC, and over in Mesopotamia, they are super into this new thing called civilization. People are getting organized, they invent writing, and they write about their gods. Lots and lots of gods. Paganism, baby. They believe we're helping the gods to hold back the forces of chaos. It's kind of like the Avengers, but way more depressing. Down in Egypt, they also have lots of gods, some of which are super weird, and some of which are getting to be more important than others. And people are starting to embrace the idea that they get to be reborn in the afterlife. It's an idea that gets a lot of traction in Africa and then everywhere else. Over in India, Hinduism spreads good karma through gods like Brahma and Vishnu and Shiva. Actually, Hindus have 330 million gods. Wait, really? That's a lot of gods. We're not going to list them all. The point is, they guide everyone through reincarnations toward perfect bliss. Later on, a Hindu prince named Siddhartha hears the sound of one hand clapping. He becomes Buddha, and he teaches you that your soul goes through a cosmic blender until you achieve nirvana, and everyone meditates on that. Over in China, they start to worship their ancestors, who they believe achieve a godlike status after death. Then they adopt Confucianism, which is really more of a philosophy than a religion, and then Taoism, which is all about maximizing this stuff called qi. Basically, you can never have too much qi. In the Americas, the Maya afterlife is a pretty gloomy joint filled with rivers of blood that eventually lead to an eternal paradise. The Maya and the Aztecs and the Inca worship gods that control everything from rain to corn to athlete's foot, and some of them demand human sacrifice, which makes them super hard to shop for. In Greece, the gods keep busy by screwing each other over like the Real Housewives of Mount Olympus, while their followers are stuck with an underworld where there's a toll booth to cross a river of pain. Back in the Middle East, a bunch of Hebrews decide that one god is plenty. Then they wait for the Messiah. After a couple of thousand years, guess what? The Messiah actually shows up. Although there's some debate about this, so Christianity splits off from Judaism. Meanwhile, Muhammad receives the Quran from Allah, who's technically the same God worshipped by Jews and Christians, but different. The Christian afterlife gets heaven and hell, the Muslims get heaven and hell, and the Jews, who started all this monotheistic stuff, have Boca Raton, which is a bit of both. 100,000 years, with seemingly as many versions of the afterlife. Some are paradise, others not so much. But here in modern-day America, the path to eternity can be pretty joyous.